Welcome, friends. This is lesson 2 of Learn Italian for Travel on greetings. My name is Danielle, and I'd like you to remember 2 important rules as you learn Italian with me. The first is to relax, and the second is to have fun. So both of these are very important. So I want you to know you're going to make mistakes as you learn to pronounce these words, and as you're there in Italy, you might use the wrong word, and it's okay. So what we're going to talk about today when we start is a cultural difference, which we don't really have in American culture or in the English language. And in Italy, there are actually 2 different ways that you can address people. You can address them in a formal way, and you can address them in an informal way. And this has to do with different words in different contexts, also different verb conjugations. So when you don't know somebody, you're going to use the formal form. And it's showing a sign of respect. When you're good friends with somebody, you've known them for a long time, family, you use the informal form. But all of you are learning Italian for travel purposes, so you're not going to know people when you go to check in at your hotel, when you go to the train station, when you go to the restaurant. And so we're going to be learning the formal form. So I drew some pictures to hopefully help you understand these concepts a little bit more with my trusty notepad. So this person here is dressed in a hat, in a tie, and is carrying a briefcase. It could be a man, it could be a woman. The point is, when you address somebody in a formal way, you're going to use the pronoun lei, okay? And that's how you say you in the formal way. So formale, like I said, the outfit, remember the outfit, could be a man, could be a woman, it doesn't matter. This is when you're talking to somebody, not talking about them. So lei means you, but formally, okay? So the next person that you might be talking to is going to be in an informal way. So I wrote the Italian translation informale, okay? And this person is dressed in a baseball cap, in a t-shirt, shorts, tennis shoes. I'm not the best drawer, but I try. So, and you can't, again, tell if it's a girl or a guy, a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. So when you talk to a person in an informal way, you're going to use the pronoun here, tu. So tu also means you. So we've got lei and tu. Lei is formale, tu is informale. So for the purposes of this video and the lessons that I'll teach you, we're not going to be using the informal tu. We're going to be using the formale, and that's with the lei, because like I said, you're going to be meeting all these people as you travel to Italy for the first time. And another note as you start your Italian language learning adventure is that the more language that you know when you go over there, the better. And the more effort that you put out in speaking to Italians, the better your experience is going to be as you're over there. Italians are very friendly, very outgoing, very confident people. And if you go over there with that same energy and that same intention, your travel experience is going to be awesome. So let's start with some important words. This is a very important, it's a question. And so if anyone asks you a question, you can always, instead of asking the question back or not knowing what to say, you can also just ask, and you? Okay, so simply, a lei is and you. So it means and, okay? So remember that, and we'll come back to that later. A lei. Okay, so we're going to start with hello, or good day, or good evening. So you can use all of these interchangeably, although these 2 are specific to the time of day. So the first one is going to be either hello or goodbye. You can use it when you meet somebody. You can also use it as you're leaving somebody. So it is salve, hello or goodbye. And if you're meeting a man, you might say signore. Signore means sir. And if it's a woman, signora. So it's a polite way to say hello sir, hello, miss. Ma'am, we say in English. We don't use it over here as often though, especially again, like I said, in California. I never hear ma'am, rarely sir. So one more time. Salve, signore. Salve, signora. Hello or goodbye. So you can use this interchangeably with this here if it's daytime, and that's anytime from the morning up until probably around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Sort of depends where you are in Italy when they change from afternoon to evening. But you can say buongiorno, and that's good day. It's also hello. And again, it can be used when you're greeting, also when you're leaving. If it's evening, and evening would be, like I said, around 4 or 5, anytime up through the night. You would say buonasera, okay? So I might say salve, signora, and you might respond with buonasera. Or I might say buongiorno, and you might respond with salve. So they can be interchanged. The only two you can't interchange are buongiorno and buonasera, and that's because this is day and this is evening, and that doesn't really make sense. So if you're having problems thinking, like, oh, why does the U-O make a uo or the I-O make a yo sound? You can refer back to my first lesson. It's on pronunciation. Learn Italian for Travel, lesson 1 on pronunciation, and I tell you how to pronounce all of these letter combinations together. So, some other important words as you're over there traveling is the first one, scusi. Scusi is excuse me. If you want to know somebody, if you want to ask a question, scusi. Okay? The next one, prego. Prego is a great word. It's a sort of an all-encompassing word. Well, it means you're welcome. It can also mean excuse me. It can also mean you might be on a train and you might be wanting to get by. You could say prego, like, can I get by? It's also a pasta sauce, right? Yeah, I don't really eat the prego pasta sauce, but you all know that one. Okay, the next one you can use interchangeably with prego if you're wanting to get by. Permesso. Permesso means permission, but can I see this or get by? Okay? And then the last one here, if you ever want to say or need to say you're sorry, mi dispiace. Okay? So let's go back over these one more time. Scusi, prego, permesso, mi dispiace. Great. Andiamo alla prossima pagina, next page. So hopefully when you're over there, you'll make a lot of friends, and you might want to know the person's name that you're talking to, so you can ask them, what's your name? So that's the next one, is come si chiama? Come si chiama? What's your name? Or literally, what do you call yourself? And then the response that they will say, or if you're asked, you would say, mi chiamo. Mi chiamo, literally, I call myself. You can also, if you just want to introduce yourself, you can say sono Danielle. So I can say mi chiamo Danielle. I can say sono Danielle. Danielle is a French word. I'm American. Actually, I was born in Canada, and I'm half Italian. So Danielle in Italy, they don't say, so they'll say Daniela. So when I'm in Italy, I'm always Daniela. And then if you're a guy, Daniele. So Danielle, Italians they'll say Daniela. So anyways, the next thing that you will want to know is to ask somebody how they're doing. So to say, how are you? You say, come sta? Come sta? There are many different responses. I only wrote down 3, but you can respond in 10 different ways, even more. The first one I wrote is bene, grazie, good, thanks, or well, thanks. The next one, if you're doing really well, you can add an issimo on the end. Issimo is really fun if you can add it to the end of an adverb or also to the end of an adjective, and it makes the word bigger. Like bello, bellissimo, bene, here, really well, benissimo. okay? And then the last one, non c'è male. Non c'è male is literally there isn't bad. So I could tell you how to say it's bad, but come on, you're in Italy. Do you really want to say it's bad? And how bad can it be if you're in Venice or Rome or Tuscany? So let's go over these one more time. How to say, what do you call yourself? What's your name? Come si chiama? Mi chiamo Daniela. Sono Daniela. If somebody asks you come si chiama, you would respond with mi chiamo. But if you just want to introduce yourself, you can say sono Daniela. How are you doing? Come sta? And then the responses, bene, grazie, benissimo, non c'è male. Okay, andiamo avanti. Let's go to the next page. Okay. You're in Italy, you're going to be meeting people for the first time, so somebody is probably going to ask you, where are you from? Or you might want to ask this to somebody else. So the question, where are you from, is di dove lei? And then the answer that you would say is sono di California. I could say sono di Canada, sono di California. It's a little complicated to put all that together. You can also just say sono americana, sono americano, and then you could explain exactly where you're from. So when I was in Rome last summer, we were in this restaurant and we were eating, and the waiter asked, where are you from? And we said, siamo di California. And he said, oh, mamma mia. He said, I would love to go to California. I would love to live there. And we said, we would love to live in Rome. And so isn't that sort of funny how the grass maybe is always greener, or maybe we could swap houses or something someday. I don't know. So the next point I want to make here is with the word dove, okay? So you see it written like this here. There's an apostrophe and there's an accent mark over the E, and that actually means two different words. It means dove. Well, it doesn't mean dove. It means where is. Dove by itself means where. E with an accent means is. Do you remember back from the beginning? A without an accent means and. So they actually sound the same. It's just that one's written with an accent, one's not. So A without an accent means and. A with an accent means is. So Italians, they don't like to stutter. Dove, e, that sounds sort of funny to have those two vowel sounds together. So what they'll do is they'll take off the last E, put an apostrophe, and then it sounds like it's just dove, but it actually means where is. So this is sort of crucial when you're walking around the city and you want to figure out where something is. And we'll have another lesson on how to say directions, but if you want to know where something is, just remember dove. Per esempio, for example, you're in Rome and you want to go to the Colosseum and you can't see it. So, dove il Colosseo? Dove il Colosseo? And so dove, and then whatever monument that you want to find. So we were in Rome last summer and we were looking for the Colosseo. And Rome is huge, and so I had my iPhone and I set my maps, GPS, and said, let's get to the Colosseum. So we start walking. And we start walking for about an hour and a half, and then my GPS says, merge onto the freeway. So the GPS, I didn't realize at the time it was for a car, so we had to turn around. My kids were mad, my parents were mad, but that's part of the travel experience too, right? And walking is good for you. And it makes you more hungry, and then you can eat more pasta and gelato. So here I show you again the difference highlighted. A with the accent, without the accent means and. A with the accent means is. They sound the same, okay? Some other very important words that you'll want to know when you're over there meeting people, being polite, having fun, being relaxed. First one, I'm sure you all know this one, grazie. And you might have heard grazie, probably grazie, but maybe you've seen The Godfather, and then that's how they say it in the movie. The technical pronunciation is grazie. So another note, when you're in Italy, you're going to be hearing standard Italian, which is what you're learning here. And then every region you go to, you'll also probably be hearing the dialect from that region. Every region has a dialect, some very similar to the Italian, standard Italian, some completely different. In fact, some regions up by Bergamo in the north, up by Milan, the dialects doesn't sound like Italian at all. It sounds very Germanic. So you'll hear, everyone knows the standard Italian, but again, they also know their dialect. So, grazie, thank you, and then the answer, prego, which we saw back before, and we know that it can mean other things too, like, do you remember? Like, can I help you? Can I get by? Permission, okay? And then the last one here is per favore. Per favore means please. We always want to say please, please and thank you, right? Okay, grazie, prego, per favore. So when you meet somebody for the first time, you probably would want to say, pleased to meet you. That's a nice thing to say when you meet somebody. So that's the first word here is piacere, piacere. And you might want to shake their hands. Italians tend to give 2 kisses, 1 on each cheek. You don't have to do that when you meet somebody for the first time. So piacere, handshake, is good. A presto. A presto means see you soon. Okay, so you were not going to say this to somebody that you just met at the museum and you're leaving because you're probably never going to see them again. But maybe the hotel that you're staying at, as you leave for the day and you know you're coming back later that night, you can say that to the person that works at the hotel. A presto, see you soon. And this is similar. This is see you later. A più tardi, okay? So let's repeat these one more time. Piacere, pleased to meet you. A presto, see you soon. And a più tardi, see you later. And again, there are many, many different things that you can say, different contexts. There's different ways to say pleased to meet you, and different ways to say see you again. I'm just giving you a few so that you're not overwhelmed and you can just remember these as you go. This is the last page here for our greetings portion. And we have a few different things that you can say to people as you're leaving them or as you're greeting them. Well, these first 2 actually you would say when you're leaving. So we already learned that you can say buongiorno when you're saying hello. You can also say it when you're saying goodbye. When you're saying, this is only going to be used when you're parting because you're going to be telling them, have a good day. So you would say buona giornata, buona giornata. And the same thing here, if you're telling somebody have a good evening, you can say buona sera, good evening, as you're leaving. You can also say have a good evening, buona serata. Okay, so either of those. The last 2 here, you can say either as the first one is good morning. It's buona mattina. But you're only going to use that right when you wake up in the morning. So the person that you're with, someone that you see right when you wake up, you say buona mattina, and then beyond that, you don't. You say buongiorno, even if it's morning, okay? Or salve. And then the last one here, buona notte. Even if it's 10 o'clock at night, you're not going to say buona notte until you're going to go home and go to bed. So it's 10 o'clock at night, you're out having dinner because Italians eat later too. It's another thing that Americans need to get used to. You're not going to go out to dinner maybe until 7, 8, 9, okay? You're going to be saying, as you're leaving the restaurant, buona sera, buona notte, you're going home, going to bed, okay? So we'll repeat one more time. Buona giornata, have a good day. Buona serata, have a good evening. Buona mattina, good morning, we just woke up. Buonanotte, good night, I'm going to bed. Okay, so that's it for the lesson today on greetings. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask you at home some questions, and I want you to see if you can come up with the answers, okay? So you might need to watch this a couple times. Maybe you'll get it on the first go. Maybe you were taking notes as I was talking even, so bravi. Okay, so I'll ask the question, I'll pause for a few seconds, and try to think if you can come up with the answer. Okay, so la prima domanda, the first question is, come si chiama? Okay, so the answer you would say is mi chiamo Daniela. Molto bene. This one is not a question, but it's an exclamation. So what would you say as a response to my exclamation if we were meeting on the street and I said salve? Okay, so you could say salve. If it was daytime, you could say buongiorno. And if it was evening, you would say buonasera. So any of those work. Okay, now we're leaving, and this is the exclamation. Okay, it's daytime. I'm leaving you, and I'm saying buongiorno. Okay, so you could say buongiorno. You could say salve. You could also say buona giornata. So you wouldn't say buonasera because it's daytime, and you wouldn't say buona serata because it's daytime. Okay? And I did this. Italians tend to wave backwards too, so they might wave backwards to you like this. Salve. It's cute. Okay, the next one. Come sta? Okay? You could respond with bene, grazie, non c'è male, benissimo, if you're doing really well. And again, there are other things that you could say, but for the purpose of this video, we just learned those three. Okay, if I say this word, what would you say in response? Grazie. And the answer that you would say is prego. Okay, molto bene. And then the next question, la prossima domanda, di dove è lei? And your response would be sono di Canada. L'ultima domanda, the last question, is if you know that you're going to be seeing the person you're saying goodbye to again. Like I said, if it's the person that works at the hotel or at the restaurant that you've been going to every night. Okay? So my question or my parting to you as I'm leaving is buonasera. Okay? And you can say a presto or a più tardi. Okay, benissimo. So that wraps up our lesson on greetings. I think you did a fantastic job. Fantastico, benissimo. Keep studying Italian and look for my next video that will be coming up soon. Grazie e arrivederci. Until next time.